So Andy, thank you very much for joining me today. Firstly, congratulations on winning our prize. So we're going to be doing some Bokashi here. So this was presented by the Orchard project, but we're not at the Orchard project. So
this is Woodcroft Community Orchard. We are I always call it a very much grassroots community orchard because we're totally volunteer run and led. We're on a former allotment site in Bristol. Been here for about 13 years, so these trees are, of that age basically. And we have a variety of apples, pears, damsons, gages, all sorts that we planted to create a space to make better use of a space. I think it was formerly used by a horse as a paddock, and the council at the time were really keen that these spaces get better used to bring people together. So we we had a few tough years at the beginning trying to attract people to come on down, but in the last sort of 5-6 years it's been thriving, and it's really good, and there's all sorts of stuff going on down here.
So how many volunteers do you have roughly?
So we have around 20 to 30 people at any one time on the books, as regular members. So that includes people who look after the kitchen garden over there, which is a sort of self-governing project which creates a food box every week. In fact, they've just been here a minute ago to pick up the harvest to share with a charity which sends it to a refugee kitchen, I believe. And we have some regulars there. They also contribute to the orchard in general, and then we try and put on as many events as we can throughout the year to try and get the wider population in, because we understand that gardening is not for everybody. It's not. We want to make this site accessible for other reasons. So we had an apple day just recently, creating quite a lot of pomace. And
this is why I'm here.
Which is good that you're here, and lots of windfall actually because of the is it Storm Amy that it was just happened. So yeah, we have also we have it on site some play therapists that use the space for their clients. We have school visits. We have a kindergarten that comes along and uses it, and we're keen to attract more. We want to build more groups that can use the space, self-governing really. That's the idea.
So for people that don't know where you are, can you roughly tell us where you're based in Bristol?
We're in Brislington stroke St Anne's stroke Broom Hill. We're sort of in the middle of the three. Wider area is known as Brislington. BS4 postcode. We're sort of next to we're kind of in the border of Nightingale Valley, which is a nice wooded area you can see over there. People might know it as the hayfields over that way. There's also St Anne's Woods, so it's kind of like a green space in the middle of the city. Cool. So perfect for this sort of thing.
So for people that want to find you online, etc., how's the best place to get them?
I think you can search us up, and we've got a sort of website which is hosted by WordPress, but mainly you can find us through social media, Instagram and Facebook. We're working on that at the moment because obviously we understand not everybody's on social media, but we have representation locally. We put up leaflets. We have partners in the area that will share information, church newsletters, all sorts of different things. And
what's the site name again?
It's Woodcroft Community Orchard.
Brilliant. So for anyone that's looking online, do a Google search. I'm sure they'll find you, but probably socials will be the best place. Yeah. Brilliant. That's right. So can you tell me a little bit about this tree we're looking at here?
So this is a black dabinet cider apple tree. So it's a cultivar which is related to the dabinet, which is the most widely planted cider apple in this country, possibly in the world, I'd say. And this one's a very late ripening variety. So now we're sort of pushing into October. We hope this to be remaining on the tree, and it's got through a couple of storms already. So fingers crossed. Up until December, some of the people in the cider community like to tell us how they've harvested them in January, that sort of thing. But I think late November, December is a good time. Should be it's a bittersweet. It's a robust tannic fruit. So something that I've personally found through being involved in the community orchard is cider and the cider community, and it's really exciting to be able to make fruit with a tree that you've looked after, they get more pampered than they would on a cider farm, you know, because we can not necessarily afford the time, but we've only got a few cider apple trees, so we can try and look after them in the best way that we can. And you know, they probably would be pampered in the cider world in that sense. This is a heavy cropper. We have actually thinned this. It gets to a point where you run out of patience with thinning, and you just have to go with it. So it's going to be a significant crop for us, and should make a good cider for our not 2026 but 2027 wassail. So that'll be tucked away for a good year or so. We then share it with the community at wassail, heat it up with a bit of, you know, mulled spices and things like that. Or, you know, this, hopefully, fingers crossed, this will be good enough to, not a single variety, we'll probably blend it. We've got Kingston Black as well. We've got some other sort of sharps that will suit. If I had my way, we'd have a lot more. I've already planted 3 or 4 different cider apple trees, very big ones. I haven't told anyone how big they'll be yet, but yeah, we'll slowly convert it into a cider orchard, you know, without them knowing. Or I could talk about this one. This is an interesting one. This tree, it's a cherry plum, perhaps Mirabelle de Nancy, although I'm led to believe they're yellow. For the past 12 years I've sort of said, oh, I think the birds get all the fruit, and then the fruit came this year, 12 years after planting, and the birds weren't getting the fruit. We just hadn't had a harvest. It was absolutely laden. We had cherry plums, you know, galore. We had a red carpet of cherry plums, really great, you know, early, so it covered, you know, the first sort of bounty for the orchard. It's a bit big. We probably need to work on that in the spring and take a bit of the size out, because obviously we haven't got a massive amount of space here, so it does dominate a little bit. But it's a fantastic tree, and you can, you know, just shows what you can do in 12 years really. That's, you know, a healthy and you know, happy tree.
Environmental impacts make all the difference. So what have you found this year?
So this quince, I mean, it's on a stay of execution really. It's had a leaf blight, which is, I think, common, particularly for quinces, particularly this variety perhaps, or perhaps others are more resistant. We've used willow this year to try and create a almost like a medicinal mulch, and you know, we covered it. It's been sort of uncovered now, but we tried to suppress the fungus in the spring. We did half a job on it, so we had a harvest, whereas last year we didn't have a harvest at all, because it's looking a bit ropey now, but this time last year there would be no leaves. The fruit was you know, all damaged and damaged by the fungus, the blight. It had a bit of a heavy prune as well, hence quite a few water shoots that now I'm standing next to it, I can see, but they'll come off again at some point.
Sometimes trees just need a reset though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Human interaction with it.
That's it. I have been told that it probably can be not cured but supported by an even harder prune, knocking it right back. But yeah, we'll see, because I suppose the answer is to find a variety that's a bit more resistant if it really struggles. We've got a lot of you know, large trees that surround the site, which certainly at this end can lead to a little bit of a lack of sunshine. So you learn as you go along that perhaps that wasn't the best place to put it. But you know, it's something which the great thing about trees is, you know, grafting and, you know, being able to redo something later. So perhaps there's a solution in there somewhere. This is one of the latest things to arrive at the orchard, funded in 2023 via the National Lottery Heritage, you know, Community Fund. And we're quite surprised that we got it really. We sort of hit and hope and put an application in, and we had a few people that have been sort of enthusiastically growing and polytunnel growing since the lockdown, and saw that there's a real opportunity here. That we did have some raised beds and things, and we'd never really got them going. It was all a bit sort of shambolic, to be honest, and this has allowed us to actually bring a whole new, you know, aspect to the orchard, because I'm you know, I'm nutty for trees, but not everybody is. So I think this is a lot more accessible for people to grow things, to get a constant harvest, you know, to and to support and to have a motivation, because they provide a veg box to a charity pretty much weekly. I think they're going bi-weekly now as things slow down, and that is, you know, in itself is the reason why we set this up in the first place, is to benefit, you know, people from what is public land, so to benefit others, but also give people, you know, a place to come to socialise, to learn new things, to share their skills, to you know, to make friendships and connections in the local area. So yeah, it's been brilliant, and you know, they're growing all sorts in there.
Can we have a look around?
Yeah, have a look. There's lots of flowers and things which help with the pollination, and also, you know, create cut flowers for people. Climbing plant. We've got brassicas. They've got beans. So there's things that have already been replaced by other things, or you know, now we've got loads and loads of tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, and loads of stuff that I don't know the name of, that are new varieties that these enthusiastic gardeners are sort of you know, advocating. So yeah, it's been brilliant, and the polytunnel is just the right size. We've got you know, enough people to be able to fill their boots really each week and take away something, and it's yeah, we mulched it this year because obviously it's the watering and irrigation that's been a bit of a concern, because we are using mostly mains at the moment, but we've just secured some funding to set up a rainwater irrigation system that will hopefully cover a proportion of that. We've also got a load of sheep's wool down that we got from the sheep shearing tent at the Bath and West show. Very kindly let us take away their odds and ends that they didn't want for the commercial contracts, and yeah, and that hopefully, well, we saw a difference straight away from one side of the polytunnel to the other, where one was not mulched and one was. Yeah, it's night and day. You know, that is really the way forward for anyone. Any sort of mulch really, not just sheep's wool.
So it's my turn to actually do some talking now and show you the process. So we're going to process the apple pulp we have here. So how old is this apple pulp?
That was from an event yesterday, so I thought I'd bring it down.
Oh, it smells.
Yeah, should smell good still. Hasn't even started turning.
No, not at all. It's lovely, yeah. Oh, the pressing was good. Well done. Yeah. So what do you use as a presser then?
That was with a hydro press from the University of Bristol. So
okay.
Yeah, good.
Oh, it's a good presser, yeah.
Good press.
So I'm going to introduce some products to you, so you understand what it is. So we are trying to mimic nature. So what we're going to design here is very similar to a forest floor. So we're going to use products like Actiferm, which is this product here, which is our blend of 80 microorganisms. So this is the Actiferm. I wanted you to smell it, because you'll like the smell straight away. Now,
everyone says soy sauce, I guess, because
yeah, soy sauce, yeah.
Yeah, something fermented, definitely something fermented.
Yeasty.
Yeah.
Some people would say, yeah, soy sauce. So the actual product is lactic acid bacteria, phototrophic bacteria, Actinomyces yeast are the main components, and then we have our secret recipe. And actually, the story behind it was Dr. Aegir, who was the one that designed this, was doing single strain stuff in the science environment. And again, the salesman spiel, it makes me laugh when I say this, but it does sound like a bit of a salesman spiel, is that he at the end of the day, he put it all into one bucket, shoved it on some grass, and the grass was green on the other side, which kind of makes some sense with that. But the microorganisms are going to break down the ligament structure. So what you normally have here is obviously really hard to pull apart. And then after the process, it will still look like this, but it will be a lot more malleable and a lot more broken down. So think of it like a pickled onion. So you think about a pickled onion in the process, you put it in vinegar. After a year, it still has a crunch when you crunch it. My mum was one of her, she used to have a little game and Christmas, and the oldest ones I ever tried was 5 years.
Nice.
I mean, they were tart.
Vintage, yeah.
Vintage. But you could just about pick them out. But as soon as you try and put any pressure on it, it just falls apart. And that's what leaves do on a forest floor, is they're broken down not just by the microorganisms, but also by the soil food web. So that's why I've asked you to put some ground contact on as well. So we're also going to use this, which is Aegir, which is seashell grit. So this is our pH regulator. Now, normally I would only use Actiferm, But in the apple pulp, because of the pH on the apples anyway, and obviously you've got loads of different varieties and stuff like that, we just want to manage that pH as much as we can, so the microorganisms can then actually do the job of what they're trying to do, is to try and break down that ligament structure. If you don't use it, time is the one that's going to increase. So we normally say 8 to 12 weeks to get this to a product that you can then spread. The longer you leave it, the more the soil food web is going to do the breakdown, because obviously it's got that ground contact. So for composting, it's not necessary. It does help. It's calcium based as well, so it's actually got some good properties in it. It's actually a byproduct from the food industry that we buy it in from. So it is a waste product that we have. But in this process, just so we know it's going to work, we would always do it as a layer. So really simply, you're going to start with your first layer. So what we're going to do is going to start with the apple pulp to begin with, and we're going to put that as a layer on top. So we're going to make it about 1 metre. Yeah. Okay. So I know you've got a lot of grass you want to process as well. So although I've done a whole lot, we wouldn't normally do it as a whole lot. But we're going to spread that over the top. And this is an anaerobic system. So every time we do a layer, we just want to make sure that it's as anaerobic as possible. Don't panic if it's not, okay? So it's a greens and browns scenario. So we can use the apple pulp as our greens, and then we can use the old hay here as your browns. So all you're going to do is just going to put a pile on the top.
Any of that?
Some of this. Yep, stick out on there. Yep, that's fine. And all we're going to do is we're going to just literally squish it down.
Okay.
So on top of here, have we got a hose pipe somewhere, haven't we?
Yeah, we can grab it.
And grab that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the Actiferm and Aegir on top. So with the Aegir, it literally is a handful on the top, little sprinkle on the top, just so you can see it roughly on the top there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to wet that down a little bit. Okay. Now, microbes don't have legs, so they need some water to move in it. So what we would always do with dry hay like that is we would wet it first before we start doing any of the process.
Is that enough?
That's perfect, yep. Have you got a watering can as well?
Yep.
So what we're going to do is we're going to dilute the Actiferm down to get as much coverage. So this is, to be honest, this is a lot. This is 20 litres worth, so this will be doing them for probably two seasons. But what we're going to do is we're going to dilute it in a watering can. Oh, look at that, thank you much. So this is a 14 litre can, but roughly 2 Mississippis. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Simple as that. We're going to fill that up with water. And what we're going to do then, is we're going to then activate the microbes using the carbon to nitrogen ratio.
Right to the top.
Yeah, right to the top. So the reason why we use it in a watering can like this is to make it go further. We're talking billions of microorganisms in here, so actually when we do this process we only need a small amount. So it's 2 litres per 1 tonne of organic matter, but if you look at 2 litres, it's not very much. We just use the water for them to move around in. Perfect, that'll do. And then all we're going to do on the top of that is we're going to put a little sprinkle on the top.
And this is scalable. I mean, you're
100% scalable. So we're doing this on a very small scale. We can do this up to, well, the biggest ones we do in the Netherlands are 500-600 tonnes at a time. And we're going to do that same process. So we're going to get some apple pulp, and you'll see a nice little montage in a minute of us doing it. We're going to put apples on top, and we're going to do that same process. Keep layering it, keep layering it, keep layering it, keep layering it as high as we can get it. And every time we're going to stamp it down to make sure it's anaerobic. And then all we do is we cover it with some cardboard or something to keep the elements off of it, and then we leave it. Simple as that.
great. Let's go.
So we've stopped processing this. You've seen a lovely little time lapse, hopefully. Fingers crossed that actually worked. So we've done apple pulp, we've done all sorts of stuff, and we've done this silage hay stuff that has gone on top. We've done the Aegir, we've done the Actiferm. Thoughts on processing? How did you find it? I know we've only done a little bit, but obviously we're going to do a lot more at some point.
I think it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's simple to kind of repeat. So you know, like anything that you do once, then you repeat, then you repeat, then you repeat. It sort of sinks in. So I think if I come back now, I'll go, oh yeah. And I guess there's room for manoeuvre. Like you can put, you know, be sprinkling on. Oh, I didn't do it. You know, you could swap them around a little bit as long as you're getting the basic layers.
So with Mother Nature, there's no such thing as a right or wrong way of doing it. And I think people get really concerned about this is the way we do it. It's got to be this way, etc. So don't panic. Mother Nature will just do the work for you. And I think the thing is that we've had all sorts of different bits and bobs coming into here. We've had things that have been chopped up, which is great. Things that haven't been chopped up, which I have shoved in just so you can see. But I think next year when we come and have a look at this, or you can send me some videos of what you have, it'd be nice to see actually what's going on with it. But yeah, you've got quite a bit to process, but that's cool, that's fine. But I wanted just to finally, obviously, you know, go back to you and the project and obviously the future. So how long has this project been going?
We've been running about 13 years now. Okay. Yeah, 2012.
And I mean, you've got some very well-established trees here. What's the next steps? What would you like to see? And also, what help do you need? Because you know, I've got a massive platform. Hopefully, everyone's watching this and you know, giving some help as well. So let's talk about the future. What do you want to see in the future?
We need. I think we need kind of self-governing groups, like different groups, to use the site. I think that's my ideal. So. Because
it is for the community.
Yeah,
I mean,
so you have a gardeners group who come down maybe, you know, once a month or even every 6 months. You have ones that come every week, and you can kind of break down the different tasks between them, because we've got enough apples, you know, on a good year like this to go round more than enough of our members. We distribute as far as we can, but the more people that are coming going, the better. And then they can find their own feet here. You know, if someone wants to concentrate on composting, you know, if someone wants to concentrate on tree pruning, if they want to concentrate on, you know, growing some spuds in the corner, you know, that's what we're here for. We sort of operate on an allotment tenancy, and so we kind of have the same freedom as that people can come and go, you know, within business hours, you know, during the week, and at the weekends. As well, you know, to basically get outdoors and you know, spend some time in nature. You know, this is in the middle of the city. You know, you can walk right into the centre from here within an hour. You know, it's urban, but it's, you know, it's great and it's rejuvenating. So we tend to, maybe the area that we're in, we tend to attract lots of young families, and we want to widen that and make sure we attract older people. You know, young people who want to learn about, you know, gardening and orchards. We just want to keep widening it to keep the project sustainable. I think sustainability is what we want. We want to have another 13 years, not necessarily doing the same thing. You've got to evolve and change.
Oh, because diversity is key in nature anyway. So yeah, the more you can do, the better you can. So for any of my Bristol contacts and etc., please, you know, share the love with this project. I think it definitely has some amazing facilities. And one thing I really want to emphasise is that these projects don't work on their own. They need to have support. And you know, cash is always helpful, but actually manpower or woman power or other power is really important as well. So actually there will be lulls in the year where people don't want to do so much, normally winter time, because it's colder. But I think it's really important that you know, people are aware that these are on their doorsteps and accessible, and especially for the next generation, trying to get people to understand that feeding the world, the population, or even just the UK is actually quite easy. We just need to remember those skills that we've lost over the years, and you know, obviously compost is one of them, but actually growing things is really important. So, you know, having the opportunity for people to come down and learn this kind of stuff, because I think this is another thing as well. Don't be worried that you know how to do things. Would you agree?
Yeah,
there's always a job.
Yeah, there's always something to do. Some tasks are simple, straightforward. Other things are up to you to pick up a book and get into yourself and teach yourself, because nobody here arrived as an expert. You know, people have their own skills and specialities, but people have grown. You know, I've seen people grow with their skills and their interests in the last, you know, decade. Myself personally, you know, I did a bit of gardening, but now I consider myself a real enthusiast of, you know, trees and cider making, you know, apples and healthy fruit, and composting, one of my other favourite things to do. So
we've had off camera, we've had we had a great chat about some bits and bobs as well. So I think this is also a time to say thank you very much for the Orchard project as well, because obviously they made it possible for this to be something that you can win, and we look forward to seeing what happens in the future.
Yeah, thanks guys. Yeah, no, we know the Orchard project. We've spoke to them and dealt with them over the years, and they do a great job out there. Yeah,
brilliant. So yeah, if you haven't heard about the Orchard project, links will be down below. We'll see you soon. Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you. No, great.